procrastination or perfectionism. It's been suggested by some of the translators in the world that another definition of procrastination is perfectionism. Because if you want it to be perfect, is it possible it's never going to be perfect? And that's a really good reason to either put stuff off or, well, I can't go and do it yet because it's not perfect. What about this? If you could learn from the very best in the world how to get the most out of your time. And unlike money, where we can always get more money, even if we go broke, we can still earn more money, get more money. But time, all of us, it's the one thing in the world we all have in common. We all have 7 days in a week, 168 hours. We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have just the same amount of time. The only thing we don't know is how many years we've got. And if you look back over your life and you say, hey, I've done all the things I want to do, I've achieved all the things I want to achieve, my life's been amazing, what would you need to do to be able to say that? Do you want to even say that? I certainly do, so I wanted to learn from the best in the world. So there's procrastination, there's a disease called TFI, which is total failure to implement, which means even if you get a good idea, you procrastinate on it or you wait till it's perfect so it never gets done. I'm in business, I have students, I want to be healthy, fit and strong. I have a fantastic family. I've got an awesome husband and 4 puppy dogs, and I want to make sure that I've got plenty of time for all the things that I need to do. So I needed to learn from the best in the world. What do I have to do to have more time? Well, can't get any more time, and if you think that you can, they'll probably come and lock you away because nobody gets any more than our 168 hours in a week. So how do you make the most of it? How do you stop stopping? How do you stop procrastinating? How do you stop being a perfectionist so you actually get some stuff done? And I asked that question because I am actually, well, I am. I'm a perfectionist, not actually, I am. I want it to be perfect. But what I have learnt is that there is no such thing as perfect. Isn't that exciting? Because even the best in the world know they can get better. Whatever you think you have created or made that's perfect, or you've done something that's perfect, is it possible it can always get better? So that's my goal, is every single day to do whatever I need to do to get the stuff done that I need to do today, to focus on the future and get my future sorted and make sure that everything I want to achieve in the future gets done. And how do you do that? And here's what the best in the world suggest. Number 1 is you know exactly what it is that you want. Is it possible that we waste a lot of time on things that are not important? So there's a great question to ask, and this is my number 1 tip, my number 1 focus strategy, everything about managing my time. And I bloody hate that word manage, because manage means it could be out of control. If you have a manager in a job, it means that you have to be looked after. Somebody has to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. So I hate that word. But if you look at how to get the most out of your time, how to be most time effective and efficient, the question to ask is this: is what I'm doing right now, this minute, heading me towards my number 1 goal or away from my number 1 goal? And if you do a check-in like that several times throughout the day, what's my number 1 goal for my life, or what's my number 1 goal for today, or what's my number 1 goal for the year? Whatever your big focus is it possible that if you only focus on whatever you're doing is heading you towards that direction, you're more likely to achieve it? And there's another great question to be asked there, which is why goal setting and goal achieving and making sure that you're getting the most out of your time go together. Is it possible that whatever you've got on your goals list, whether it's your to-do list for today, your what I want to achieve this month, what I want to achieve this year, what I want to achieve with my life, if you have a look at that list, it's been suggested that one thing on that list will make sure that you achieve all of the others. And this for me is the ultimate thing about goal setting and achieving. It's not about writing down goals. It's not about having a vision board. It's not about saying your goals. And I do all of those. But ultimately, we can only focus on one thing at a time. So it's been suggested that pick the one thing that's going to make sure that you achieve all of the other things. And I find that really exciting because there'll be one. And I've got mine's very clear in my head. I know exactly where I'm heading every single day because it's my number 1 driving force of my life. So when I check in with myself daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, I always ask the question, is what I'm doing right now, this minute, heading me towards my number 1 goal or away from my number 1 goal? And the really cool thing about that question is it's been suggested if you're heading away from what you really want to achieve with your life, your number one goal, the thing you want to get done today, this month, this year, stop doing whatever you're doing and get back on track, which means several times throughout the day, it's a really great idea to ask yourself that question. Is what I'm doing right now heading me towards my goal or away from my goal? So that's the first and fundamental. We'll call it the second. The first one is, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to achieve? When you've got a list of those things, pick the one thing that's going to make sure that you achieve all of the other things. And then every hour, every couple of hours, 2 times throughout the day, whatever you decide, check in with yourself and ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now heading me towards my goals or away from my goals? And it's quite interesting how that might be the only thing you have to do. If you know what you want and you keep focusing on it, is it possible that you'll actually achieve it? Because one of the interesting things we talk about, particularly as women, I'm not sure if blokes ever talk about how well they can multi-skill, but as women we often say it's one of the things that makes me, women are so much better at multi-skilling. Well, that's the other thing that I learned, is that you can only focus on one thing at a time. And the minute you have a split focus, both of those things won't get done as well. If you have 3 or 4 things going at once, it's very unlikely that any of them will be done very well. So the next part of making your day effective, and I really like that word, rather than busy, Rowie, are you busy? No, I'm just very effective, is am I focusing on, yes, the number one thing I need to achieve, and only that thing until that thing is done. And there's some great stuff available. Of course, there's workshops and seminars and books, and there's a whole heap of stuff about how to get the best out of your time. But one of the big suggestions in every book I've ever read and every seminar I've ever been to is whatever the toughest mission you've got to do today, do it at the start of the day. And it's often, there's even a book called Eat the Frog First. So if you have to eat a frog anytime during your day, if you think about, I've got to eat a frog, got to eat a frog, got to eat a frog, and then it just takes up your headspace, because who wants to eat frogs? But if you have to eat one, eat it at the start of the day, get it over and done with, and then that mission's done. So a really great idea is a priority of tasks. So this is my goal for today. I have to get these things achieved. I'm only going to focus on one at a time, but let's focus on the one that's going to make the biggest difference, or the one that's the toughest to do. And there's a choice to be made there, of course. But there's a great question. Why would you do anything that isn't heading you towards your goal? And that's why that's more like a compass. That's more like a really forced direction. Is what I'm doing right now heading me towards my number one goal? And if not, whatever I'm doing, stop doing it. And then only focus on one thing at a time, prioritize one after the other. Now, you may not be a list person, but it certainly has been suggested that if you've got stuff to do, would it be a good idea to know what you have to do and have it in a priority order? Another great question to ask, and particularly as an exercise professional, I have a lot of people share with me that they've got too much to do. They're too busy, they've got too many things on their to-do list. Well, a great question to ask yourself every day, why would you expect more than your 24 hours? If you can't do that list in 24 hours and it's going to stress you, frustrate you, make you angry, annoy you, would it be a really good idea to take that pressure and stress off? Because yes, some people work better under pressure, and some people say, yes, I work better under stress. But if you start getting out of control, I've got all these things to do and I'm not going to get them done, then is it possible that nothing gets done well? So imagine a day where you knew exactly what you had to do today, you prioritized everything that you needed to do, you did the tough stuff first, the most important things first, the number one priority thing first, and then you worked your way through. Now, the next great question is this. If you've only got 168 hours in your week, and you do, because I only do too, if I've got priorities in my life, let's put those 168 hours in front of us at the start of the week and cross off all the times that you need to look after you first. And again, and we hear this a lot, but have a think about this. Last time you traveled on a plane, they would have shared with you as part of the safety and security of traveling on a plane, that in the case of emergency, a mask will drop out of the ceiling of the plane or the roof of the plane. You need to put that mask on yourself first and breathe before you go and help anybody else. You can't help the kids, the grandparents, anybody on the plane if you're not breathing. And it's a really good philosophy to consider when it comes to everything I've got to do today. If I don't look after me, if I'm not fit, if I'm not strong, if I'm not healthy, if I'm not hydrated, if I'm not getting enough sleep, if I'm not getting the right vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, all the stuff I need to be healthy, how can I look after everybody else? So something I learned again the hard way is to put your 168 hours on. I do it every week, but my 168 hours in front of me and make sure that the hours that are for me, eating, exercise, sleeping, doing stuff for me, that becomes part of that priority list. Because if you are a parent, a teacher, a coach, a leader, and they're really important roles for me, I have to make sure that I've got the energy, the enthusiasm, the excitement to go and help other people achieve their goals. How can I do that if I'm not looking after myself? So part of that priority list, the suggestion is that you literally block out all the times that you won't be available to work, to look after other people, to do things for other people. Because how can you do things for other people if you're not looking after yourself first? So what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? What's the priority? What's the number one thing? Then what do you have to do to make sure that you've got a healthy, fit, strong body to be able to do that? And is it possible that if you focus on priorities, your number one goal, and looking after your healthy, fit, strong body so it stays a healthy, fit, strong body for the rest of your life so you can do all the things that you want to do, is it possible that you're more likely to do them? Now, the next thing that's a really interesting thing to consider is my list of things to do. Why are they on the list? Are they to please other people? Are they going to grow my business? Are they going to be part of my family life? And what's important, because there's those 4 areas of life, remember: health and fitness, your career and business, your financial situation, and your relationships. And out of those, and I don't think they should be in any order, I think that should be a circle, that every part of that is all part of our life. And are we investing time in all of those things? And I hear this, and I'm sure that you do too. I don't have time to exercise because I'm too busy at work. Or I don't have time to invest with my family and friends because I've got to go to the gym and exercise. Or I'd love to invest more time with my business, but I've got to exercise. And it depends on priority. Could it be a really good idea that if you're going to prioritize and have a list of things that you need to do, then make sure that you have a look at all of those areas of your life rather than, I can't exercise, I'm too busy. And then you end up sick, you end up tired, you end up stressed. You end up going to bed and you can't sleep, because there's a lot of people say to me, I'm really tired, I need more sleep. And my question is always, is it more sleep that you need? Or is it a deep sleep that you need? Because a lot of people go to bed, but they're tossing and turning and can't sleep well, or they don't sleep deeply because they're really stressy about all the things that they need to do, all the things that they didn't do, or they feel guilty about all the areas of their life that aren't coming together properly. So is it, and I'm just, again, always I'm talking from my heart to yours. I don't want people to be stressed and angry and out of shape and hate their job and be broke and have terrible relationships. And is it possible that if we focus on some things first, what do you want? Why are those things important to you? Prioritize them and get them done first. And I'll always go back to that question. I ask it of myself every day and everybody else. If you have a fit, strong, healthy body, are you more likely to be able to handle stress, handle pressure, make better decisions, be more creative, be able to do all the things that you want to do because you've got the energy to do them? A lot of people ask me, Rowie, how do you do all the stuff that you do? And my simple answer every single time is because I'm healthy and I'm fit and I'm strong. I can do everything I need to do if I'm healthy, if I'm fit, and if I'm strong. And then there's some things that waste our time. Being sick to me is a big waste of time. I have absolutely I'm not interested in having a runny nose, a sore throat, getting a virus, getting a flu. So I look after my body now. And I used to in the past, I used to get sick. And I just refuse to anymore, because the only reason we get sick is if we have a body that's run down, if we have a body that's stressed, if we have a body that can't cope. So it always goes back again to, am I healthy, am I fit, am I strong so I can cope with everything? The next thing that seems to waste our time is what other people are doing. And now we live in a world where we seem concerned about what other people say about us. So we spend a lot of time on social media. There's a great question to ask there, what are we doing on social media? One of those great questions about investing time. People say I'm busy, and my question is always, busy doing what? We only have a certain amount of time. Is it possible that it's not putting in more hours, it's what we put into those hours that are important? And I'm quoting some of the classic statements from looking after investing in great time management now, but they're really important questions. Busy doing what? And that great question again, is what I'm doing right now heading me towards my number one goal or away from my number one goal? And if it's heading me away, then I should stop. Which means things like gossiping, criticizing, talking about other people, negative talk, wasting time on television, social media, gaming, all of those things. Now, there's a different priority there though. If you need to relax, and we all do, if you need to have time out, and we all do, if we need to have a headspace that doesn't have anything else in it, and we all do, when you've got those 168 hours in front of you, your week, would it be a really good idea to prioritize, to budget your time so that if you like to Facebook, that's the hour that I'm going to Facebook, that's the hour I'm going to watch television, that's the time I'm going to play with my kids, that's the time I'm going to exercise, so that you know exactly what you should be doing. And there's another great quote from a great business philosopher by the name of James Rohn. He says, if you're at the beach, be at the beach. And if you're at the office, be at the office. But when you're at the office, don't be at the beach. And when you're at the beach, don't be at the office. And I think that's one of the reasons why we get so caught up in, I haven't got time and I'm stressed. Because when we're doing something, there's that other great quote, wherever you are, be there. And if you're there and you're focused and you get that done, then you can get the next thing done and the next thing done. If we're focusing on all other things, and here's a really interesting question, if we're focusing on what other people think of us, if we're focusing on, are people criticizing me, gossiping about me, pulling me down, or the reverse, am I pulling other people down? And there's another great quote about time. Every minute that I waste pulling people down, gossiping, criticizing, is a minute that I'm not investing in myself. I'm not investing in achieving my goals. I'm not investing in my family. I'm not investing in my business. And remember, we only have a certain amount of time. If I was standing here now burning $100 notes, you'd probably think I was really stupid. And I would be. But isn't it possible that that's what a lot of people do with their time? They literally burn $100 notes on a regular basis, because the time that they waste on things that waste time is time that they're not investing into the return on their investment. And there's some big returns on investment with time. Every minute that I invest in my education, my learning, my ongoing training, could that add value to my business? Could that add value to my personal and professional development so that I become better at what I do, which means I could earn more money? Every minute that I invest in my family and the people that I care about, the people that I love, does that add value to our relationship so our relationship gets better? Or do we waste time negatively talking about, gossiping about, criticizing other people? And I just think they're some of the biggest time wasters in the world. Last but not least, and these are really big ones when it comes to those 4 questions, we often talk about time wasting, as I just have, social media, watching television, playing computer games, just wasting time doing stupid stuff. And remember, you will never do that again if you really focus on, is what I'm doing right now? Am I doing something that's heading me towards my goal? You'll probably stop. Well, I think you'll stop doing all of those things. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yay, stop wasting time. But the biggest time wasters of all, and I'll ask this very personal question, if you have a body that isn't healthy, could that be a big waste of time, because you'll have to then spend time being sick or being weak or being tired or being depressed or just being unhealthy? Is it more likely that you'll end up in hospital, and even now the medical professionals are suggesting that we're more likely to have accidents. Because if you're overweight, if you're out of shape, if you're stressed when you're driving, you're not thinking clearly, there's all sorts of accidents that can happen if we're not looking after ourselves, and we'll certainly have a body that breaks down and wastes away. So could a lack of investment of time into our healthy, fit, strong body then mean that we have to waste time being sick, being unhealthy, being depressed, being anxious, all of those horrible things? How much of a waste of time, this is number 2, how much of a waste of time is a horrible, shitty job that you don't like? Imagine looking back over your life, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 48 weeks of the year for 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life, having done a job that you don't like. I think that's the biggest waste of time ever, because every hour that you could be doing something that you love, that you're passionate about, you're doing something that you don't like, with people that you don't like, with a boss that you don't respect, with a product or service that you aren't proud of. Could that be a really big waste of time, and could be a great time to stop it? Could today be a really good time to say, that's it, that's enough, I'm not doing a lousy, shitty, rotten job anymore. I'm going to make sure that my priority of time is focused on how do I get the career or the business that I'm passionate about. So for the rest of my life, I can be doing something that I love every day, not something that I don't like. And even some people, and this is why I hate the word average, some people have an average job that pays an average wage and they stay there because it's comfortable. So they don't hate it, they just don't like it some days. Well, what a waste of time. I think that every 24 hours is really important, because we don't know how many 24 hours we're going to get. We talk about I've got 20 years of my life, but really that's only 20 Christmases. It's only 20 birthdays. It's only 20 special events if you have a family reunion once a year. Time is very, very limited. Even if we live to 120, 30, 40, which I'm absolutely planning on barring accident, there's the interesting thing. What about if we have an accident and our life's cut short? What are we going to do today to make sure that today's awesome? And if I'm unhealthy and unfit and wasting time being unhealthy and unfit, could that mean then I have a lousy, stinking, rotten job? Or imagine both, being really unhealthy, not looking after your body, and having a lousy, stinking, rotten job just to pay the lousy, stinking, rotten bills. Not an exciting reason to get up, is it? Go and pay my lousy bills. Yuck. The next really big waste of time, of course, is stressing about. And usually we stress about money, or we stress about time, or we stress about I'm not in great shape, or we stress about our job. And are all of those things controllable? So instead of wasting time complaining, moaning, whinging about the stuff that we don't have or isn't working or we want to make better, what if we just invested that time and make it better? And it's really interesting, and I'll go to the money question. Is it possible that we waste a lot of time stressing about money instead of investing our time and money into something that will create wealth creation? And I love this concept, and it was taught to me a very long time ago. Money's not about money, of course. Isn't it exciting that it's about choice and freedom? If you are financially free, where money is no longer controlling your life, where you can choose to live your life in a certain way because you have the income to do it, could that make life more fun? So there's a great question there. In your 168 hours, should we invest time into how can I create financial security, financial freedom, wealth creation, so I don't have to stress about money anymore? Because could that be a really big waste of time? And then the last one, which is interesting about relationships, how much time do we waste with people who don't add value to our life? How much time do we waste with people who we think are important? We want to please them, impress them. We dress to suit them. We talk the way they think we think that we should talk. We live our life in a way that doesn't. It's not who we are. It's to impress somebody else or to have somebody else like us. What a bloody big waste of time. What if you live your life every day being proud of who you are? Doing the things that when you look in your mirror, you can say, I like who I am. I'm a good person. I have self-respect. I'm self-disciplined. I'm self-inspired, self-motivated, self-educated, which means I can go and do stuff with my life. And if we invest time into our education, self-education, self-discipline to make sure that we get it done, into our self-inspiration and motivation, there's another really great question there. Could we waste a lot of time trying to get motivated, get inspired, when all we need to do is just go do it? And that's the ultimate, I think, in time investment. Instead of setting a goal and hoping to achieve it and believing in ourselves that we can do it, when do we actually know we can do it? And I always use the example of running marathon. When I hadn't run any marathons, I didn't know that I could run marathon. But when I went to run marathon and I did it and I crossed the finish line at 42.2 kilometres, now I know that I can run 42.2 kilometres. I don't have to believe in myself anymore. I know. So whatever goal that you have in mind, instead of wasting time thinking about it, talking about it, writing it down on paper, why not just bloody do it? And is it possible then that once you've done it, there's a whole different set of headspace? Because when you know that you can do it, and I'll go back a step, how do you know you can do it until you do it? And is it possible that if you set a goal and do it and achieve it, you're more likely then to set another goal and do it and achieve it because you know that you can? So how about rather than, and this is really interesting because I used to waste a lot of time on professional development, personal development, reading books, seminars, all that stuff. And it's great. But it's absolutely useless waste of time if you don't do it. If you don't put into practice what you learn, what a silly waste of time. And I've got lots of people in my life who have master's degrees and doctorate degrees and postgraduate degrees, and they've been studying. And when I ask them, are you healthy, fit and strong? Do you have a career or business that you love? Are you financially free? And do you have great people in your life? They say no, but I've got 75 university degrees. And I exaggerate, but I don't want that for anybody. I would love your life to be exactly the way you want it to be. And is it possible that it can be? We've only got 24 hours in a day. We've only got 168 hours in a week. We've only got 365 days in a year, and we don't know how many years we've got. So how about we stop wasting time and start investing it into our health, into our career path business, ongoing education and training so we can keep getting better at what we do. And I'll just use that as a little side note. When I budget my time, and that 168 hours is my budget. I only have 168 hours, as do you, by the way, just a quick reminder. When you have budgeted your time in that 168 hours, you actually stop stressing about time. Imagine this, it's that be at the beach. When I'm here watching television, I thoroughly enjoy it because it's part of my time budget. I'm not thinking I should be cleaning the house or I should be doing a video or I should be working on my computer. I'm totally relaxed because this is my TV time. I'm totally relaxed when I do my videos because this is video time, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it because this is the time that I budgeted to do videos. The only time we start getting stressed, it seems, and has it happened to you, where I should be doing this and I haven't got time, so I'm focusing on that. I'm trying to ride two horses with one ass, and of course that's not possible. So here's a really great question. What do you want? Why do you want it? How are you going to get it? And how are you going to budget, invest your time to make sure that you get it? So always ask that question. Is what I'm doing right now heading me towards my number one goal or away from my number one goal? What is my number one goal? And that is a Harley Davidson, if you could hear that in the background. And I have some special friends in my life who think that that's the coolest thing ever, that if I ever have a motorbike, I'm going to have a Harley Davidson. Well, I'm going to use that as an example because it's just popped into my life right now. How about whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you want to achieve, every place you want to go, everything you want to do, everything you want to learn, make sure that you've got time to do it. We actually don't know how much time we've got. So what if today was our last day? How would we invest our time today?